Shalom Eastern Shore. I am Rabbi David Tokajer with Congregation Maim Chaim, the Eastern Shore's Messianic Synagogue, and I am bringing you your daily dose of living water. Sadly, most of the Jewish world still rejects the notion that Yeshua, or Jesus, is the Messiah of Israel. While it breaks my heart that this is the case, it is because of this that my life is dedicated to realizing the biblical promise that all Israel will be saved. To that end, I was reminded during my devotional time this week about a passage from Acts 5 that really stood out to me and encouraged me immensely. And I wanted to share this with you today. In Acts 5, we read about there being great miracles, signs, and wonders occurring through the ministry of the emissaries in Jerusalem as they proclaimed the good news of Messiah Yeshua. The ruling Kohen Gadol, the high priest, was angry at what he heard and imprisoned them. Miraculously, an angel of the Lord opened the gates of the jail cell, and they were set free and immediately began to preach in the temple again. This infuriated the Kohen Gadol, and he called the Sanhedrin together to discuss what to do with the emissaries to eliminate this headache once and for all. They investigated how the emissaries got free, and the jail guards corroborated the miraculous story, which only further served to irritate the Kohen. So they drugged the emissaries in front of the Sanhedrin to question them, as they had already been instructed not to speak of Yeshua again publicly. Peter boldly proclaims, "We must obey God rather than man," and briefly shared the gospel of the Sanhedrin. Beginning with Acts 5:33, it says, "Now when they heard this, they became enraged and wanted to kill them. But a certain Pharisee named Gamaliel, a teacher of the Torah, respected by all the people, stood up in the Sanhedrin and gave orders to put the men outside for a little while. Then he said to them, 'Men of Israel, be careful what you are about to do with these men. For some time ago, Theudas rose up claiming to be somebody, and a number of men, maybe 400, joined up with him. He was killed, and all who followed him were scattered and came to nothing. After this fellow, Judah the Galilean rose up in the days of the census and got people to follow him. He also perished, and all who followed him were scattered. So now I tell you, stay away from these men and leave them alone. For if this plan or undertaking is of man, it will come to an end. But if it is of God, you will not be able to stop them. You might even be found fighting against God.'" The great Pharisee Gamaliel, who was also the teacher who trained Paul, in my opinion, spoke a very powerful prophetic word, whether he intended to or not, in favor of the gospel. He said, "Many have come before Yeshua who were thought to be the Messiah, and they died. When they died, their following faded away too. If this is of God, then nothing can stop it. And if it isn't of God, then it too will die out soon." Some 2,000 plus years later, here we stand, still following and still preaching the gospel of Yeshua today. For 2 millennia, the body of Messiah has not only survived, it has thrived, and it has grown and impacted literally the entire globe. I want to take a moment to encourage you that the prophecy spoken by Rav Gamaliel was in fact a powerful encouragement to us today. Messiah Yeshua is truly the Messiah of Israel. He is truly the Son of God, and he has truly provided salvation and eternal life. Let us pick up the torch of the emissaries of the Brit Hadashah and just as boldly continue to speak the truth of salvation in Yeshua and the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, no matter what adversity we face. Because not only has this Messianic movement not died out, it is going to continue to grow. Shalom.